ridden in my war glory to meet an enemy before battle. It was a ritual. To my mind, the ritual meant nothing, and it changed nothing, and it decided nothing. But Aethelflaed was evidently curious about her enemy, and so we indulged Ragnall by riding to endure his insults. We halted a few paces from the Northmen. They carried 3 standards. Ragnall's red axe was the largest, and it was flanked by a banner showing a ship sailing through a sea of blood, and by Haston's bare skull on its tall pole. Haston sat on his horse beneath the skull, and he grinned at me as if we were old friends. He looked old, but I suppose I did too. His helmet was decorated with silver, and had a pair of raven's wings mounted on its crown. He was plainly enjoying himself, unlike the man whose banner showed a ship in a sea of blood. He was also an older man, thin-faced and grey-bearded, with a scar slashing across one cheek. He wore a fine helmet that framed his face, and was crested with a long black horse's tail which cascaded down his back. The helmet was circled by a ring of gold, a king's helmet. He wore a cross above his mail, a gold cross studded with amber, showing that he was the only Christian among the enemies who faced us. But what distinguished him that morning was the murderous gaze directed at Finan. I glanced at Finan, and saw the Irishman's face was also taut with anger. So, the man in the gold-ringed horsetail helmet, I thought, had to be Conall, Finan's brother. You could feel the mutual hatred. One word from either, I reckoned, and swords would be drawn. "Dwarves!" The silence was broken by the hulking man beneath the flag of the red axe, who kicked his big stallion 1 pace forward. So this was Ragnall Ivarson, the Sea King, Lord of the Islands and would-be King of Britain. He wore leather trews tucked into tall boots that were plated with gold badges, the same golden plaques that studded his sword belt, from which hung a monstrous blade. He wore neither mail nor helmet. Instead, his bare chest was crossed by 2 leather straps beneath which his muscles bulged. His chest was hairy, and under the hair were ink marks, eagles, serpents, dragons, and axes that writhed from his belly to his neck, around which was twisted a chain of gold. His arms were thick with the silver and gold rings of conquest, while his long hair, dark brown, was threaded with gold rings. His face was broad, hard, and grim, and across his forehead was an inked eagle, its wings spread and its talons needle-written onto his cheekbones. "Dwarves," he sneered again. "Have you come to surrender your city?" "You have something to tell us?" Aethelflaed asked in Danish. "Is that a woman in mail?" Ragnall addressed the question to me, perhaps because I was the biggest man in our party, or else because my battle finery was the most elaborate. "I have seen many things," he told me in conversational tone. "I have seen the strange lights glitter in the northern sky. I have seen ships swallowed by whirlpools. I have seen ice the size of mountains floating in the sea. I have watched whales break a ship in 2, and seen fire spill from a hillside like vomit, but I have never seen a woman in mail. Is that the creature who is said to rule Mercia?" "The Lady Aethelflaed asked you a question," I said. Ragnall stared at her, lifted himself a hand's breadth from the saddle, and let out a loud and long fart. "She's answered," he said, evidently amused as he settled back. Aethelflaed must have shown some distaste because he laughed at her. "They told us," he looked back at me, "that the ruler of Mercia was a pretty woman. Is that her grandmother?" "She's the woman who will grant you a grave's length."